staple. This one was staple because I needed it in a hurry. So, and it's not real expensive if we do this together. And so you use them yourself to give out something about all of us instead of carrying 10 business cards and trying to hand them out. So, okay, just a thought. Just a thought.
Would you ask Ira to identify himself since you're now recording?
Ira?
No,
I
not
mean,
Ira.
sorry, Arnie.
That's Ira over there. This is Arnie Goldberg.
I'm not sure I want to be
Arnie Goldberg is our eight decades of marketing wisdom. 8 decades of marketing wisdom.
Fine. Okay, so good morning, folks. Yeah, my name's Arnie Goldberg. Sometimes I go by Arnie Gold. No, I don't. I thought I would just show you that what you can do, or what you could do in the old days. People read these things in the old days. I don't know if people read books, but you notice they're all small. The very first one I did was give your dog a treat, and it was about customer loyalty. Okay, you pat your dog on the head. Okay, you take him out and you feed him, and he's loyal. Okay, so this had all to do with customer loyalty. It was written actually by someone else, and he invited me to come in as a guest author with him, and we did some pretty neat things. If I'm not mistaken, that was that one. I'm not sure. There was another one I did before that. No, this one's mine. This one was mine. This is all about customer loyalty. Let me tell you something about customer loyalty while we're at it. There are some, I'm going to pick on realtors because I've dealt with them for so many years. Realtors think they have to go get new business and they spend money on marketing to new people and so on, when if they spent the same amount of money on their existing base, they would get more referrals. And that's the case a lot of times in the way you approach your business too. Martha, when's the last time you talked to your best 5 clients? That's a good question.
Like this?
Your best 5 clients.
I call them at least once a month. Or I text them at least once a month.
Once a month.
Yes,
Okay.
I try to keep
All right. All right.
how they're doing.
Okay, there's another book in here, maybe, if I brought it. Oh, yeah, here. Your Golden Egg. Here's another book called Your Golden Egg. What's your number one asset?
Me.
In business?
Myself.
In business.
In business, myself is my number one asset.
A lot of people say it's your database. Okay? Their database. You know what I say? No, it's not your whole database. So then what is it? It's that top batch that gets your referrals. Okay? And in real estate, it's usually about 20 to 25 a year. Okay? So if you could figure out a way to get the next level of your database, you need to split your database, okay, in groups. I don't know how I got on this database thing, but I did. So that top batch, you need to talk to them at least every other week somehow, without being obnoxious.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's
Without being obnoxious. So how do you do that? You have to become RESOURCE. You have to be a resource. Okay, so if you're a resource for information and not a salesperson,
right.
I always found that I was successful in sales because I was a resource. People were glad to see me because they knew they were going to learn something. So that you have to figure out a way to do it. Okay, but you have to be in front of them. Let me tell you what happens to realtors, and I'm picking on them because I can. Realtors think that once they get a customer, okay, they have a customer, that's going to be their customer forever. And I say in one of my scenarios in this book, I think, that you have to earn referrals, whether they're your customer or not. So let's say you have that top batch of people that are referring business to you, whatever business you're in. You have to stay in front of them. I'll tell you why. All of a sudden, in the next block over, one of the kids that goes to school, mother became a realtor. So you automatically think that you're going to get that business, and all of a sudden they feel loyal. They feel an obligation to give it to somebody else. How many times have you had a good friend of yours all of a sudden list a house with somebody else? It's insane. It's insane. So you have to earn. You have to continually earn your business, okay, and your referrals. That's just one of the things. But by splitting your database, you want to get that second level of database into the referral section. So how do you do that? So you have to stay in front of them. You have to stay in front of a lot of them. Let me tell you, I'm going back to realtors again. It's important for you to have ultimate exposure all the time. I founded the first voicemail company in Indiana, 1988. There was no email yet, so voicemail was important. People didn't know what the hell it was. In Indiana, I thought I was going to get rich on voicemail. Guess what? People wouldn't even talk to answering machines in Indiana. Mr. Great Marketer, I thought I was going to kill it, right? So now I have to educate people on what and realtors were my niche. I had to educate them on what voicemail was, and I created an idea for realtors. 29% of all business in those days was from yard signs. Yard signs, okay? So I said, put a 24-hour number on your yard sign so people know to call you, because they're driving by that house at 10 o'clock at night, they're not gonna bother you. But if it says 24-hour number, okay, and in those days it was a voicemail number, that my numbers were a separate number, so that they could call and leave a message, right? And you had a pager attached to it usually, okay? So it would let you know you had a message, so you could call and get it. Well, anyhow, and the other thing would happen, like families going to church on Sunday, and they see a house yard sign, and they say, "Oh my gosh, we like that house, blah blah blah." But meantime, they go down another block or two, and they see a different house. They may have never called you, but if it said 24-hour number, they might have. I had realtors using my 24-hour numbers for 20 years because they couldn't give up the number. It was published. It was out there, right? So it was a method to my madness too. I also had them put 24-hour number on their business card. I'm probably the instigator of 24-hour numbers back in 1980. Can you imagine? I also was the first one to convince realtors to put their pictures on business cards. Can you imagine that? Really? How about that? Crazy. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah. So a lot of them still have that same picture.
First grade.
Yeah, you can't even recognize it when you see it. Anyhow, okay. So that's silliness. Okay, but it isn't. It's all about exposure, being out there, and so on.
You still got like 2-3 minutes. You're going
really.
good pace.
Is that right? Okay. So this book was written networking. Yeah, that's what we're here for. And it says in the digital age, but it's got nothing to do with digital. I did that on the cover to get the attention on the cover. But what it really is, it's old-fashioned networking, like we sit and do here. And I thought I was just going to go through and read the titles. Okay, giving begets getting. The giver's gain philosophy, right? Follow-up, which I have been terrible about lately. Follow-up. You get so busy that you don't follow up like you should. How many times have you been to a Chamber of Commerce meeting or some kind of a network meeting, and you meet 5, 6, 7 people in a little group area or whatever, and not one of them calls you or follows up? Not one. It happens all the time. Okay? Doesn't do any good to go to those things if you don't follow up. In today's world, we think the email will work. Hopefully texting does better. Here's a silly one. Create new ways of thinking. Create new ways of thinking. I need to read this book. I'm glad I pulled it out today. Here's a tip on building more creativity. I was always pretty creative, but here's a great tip. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go find a good website. Find something that somebody's doing that you like or that makes sense, and change 3 words and do it. Or run it through AI nowadays, and you get a different version. I mean, you don't have to really reinvent to be more creative. So use other people's creativity.
Do you know when the wheel will work if you reinvent it? When pigs fly.
When pigs fly. Here's an Arnieism. If you only look at what is, you might never attain what could be. Interesting. That was a good one, Arnie. Thanks. Step out of your comfort zone. People have a comfort zone. And then I had some actual experiences in here that were pretty good, and so on. But these books, I just do them. And people used to say, "Oh, God, you've written so many books." Yeah, well, I just do them. They don't have to be fancy, big, whatever. Just do them.
30 seconds to wrap up.
Many of you thought you would write a book someday. You never do. Just do it. Just do a list. Do a list. Doesn't have to be in order. When you have a thought, write it down. Or in today's world, type it on the computer, whatever. And at some point, you'll have enough information to put one of these together and just do it. Okay?
If you learned anything from Arnie today, give him a round of applause.
Where can we reach you? How can people reach you?
Well, that's pretty good for a great marketer. I didn't even give my number.
You have an 800 number?
I don't need an 800
He's got a
number
24-hour
because you can call mine 24 hours. I'm probably up anyhow. 317. Why 317? Because I'm from Indiana. Ever met anybody from Indiana? Yeah, from Indiana. 317-677-6494. I might say it again. 317-677-6494. Arnie Gold, ARNIEGOLD 17 @gmail. That's the easiest email to remember. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Appreciate you attending this crazy thing.
Give Arnie a big round of applause.